Today is Friday, July 11th, 2025, and it is Yom Shishi, the sixth day of the week, 15 Tammuz, the 15th day of Tammuz, 5785, and it's Parshat Balak. And today is the yahrzeit, the anniversary of passing, or the Hilula of the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, the holy Orach Chaim, Rabbi Chaim ben Attar, who lived from 1696 through 1743. I think he passed away at around age 47, and he wrote a commentary on the Torah and other works, and a great sage, a righteous man, a Torah luminary. And what I'm holding up right now is the PL-89 calendar, and it's also the PL-89 quantum thought calendar. It's also known as the PL-89 quantum entanglement calendar and the PL-89 multidimensional quantum thought calendar and the Mercury quantum thought calendar and the Mercury quantum entanglement calendar and the Mercury multidimensional gematriatic quantum thought calendar. And this calendar was developed in the year 2012, and I always mention Elul, late summer of 2012, because that is when it was completed. But what I'm remembering now is it really was being developed the whole year, starting from the springtime. The thoughts, the ideas, everything about it slowly came piecemeal, so to speak, at that time. And these days, starting from July 1st of this year, I've started to make daily videos about the PL-89 calendar. And this is a luni-solar calendar, which is a lunar solar calendar which combines the Gregorian calendar, the calendar that we now use that says that today is July 11th, and it combines the lunar calendar, which is represented by the Hebrew calendar, on which we say today is the 15th of Tammuz. And it combines them into one composite calendar, one combined calendar, and it uses what I call the plus and minus reality system, which means that to equate the Gregorian dates with the Hebrew dates, like for example, today is the 15th of Tammuz, but it's also the 11th of July, so the difference between them is 4. So it's referred to as a +4 reality or a -4 reality, depending. And these differences, although they're very simple, and it seemed like the question might be asked, why notate these differences, these relationships between the two? But this is a study that I've been doing over the past, since 2020, 5 years, more than 5 years actually, maybe 6 years, since 2019 really, and maybe even before then. But I'm seeing that there is a difference, and there's some secret to be revealed. And I've mentioned this in a previous video, the name Sod HaIbur. It's in an effort to understand what's known in Hebrew, in Rabbinic Hebrew, as Sod HaIbur, which is the secret of the intercalation, which is the secret of leap years. And the idea is that there's a certain amount of leap years in this age, in this whole time continuum, from the beginning of creation, however one might date that, but from whenever, certainly the years of creation are taken into great consideration. For example, the number 5,785 that we describe this year, something definitely happened at that point. Now what it was is up for debate, but it's taken into consideration in this calendar. And so every day I like to, now it's called the Thought Calendar and many other names that I mentioned in the beginning of this video, because it's some of the main names are Gematriatic Thought Calendar and Multidimensional or Quantum Entanglement or Quantum Fusion Reconciliation Calendar. It takes ideas that are represented by the Sun, the Moon, the planet Mercury, planet Earth, and the Julian calendar, and uses them to manage thoughts, manage history, manage basically all information, because all information can be represented by numbers, and it holds it all in one place. And there's some really, really fantastic results. And the numbers, I don't know if you can see them clearly here, but the numbers are based on verses in the Bible, in the book of Leviticus, in the parsha, in the portion of the sabbatical year, which is Leviticus chapter 25, around verse 20, those verses. And the numbers, the sequence of numbers that make up this calendar are based on those verses, primarily the numbers 8 and 9. And there's several reasons why this is called 8 and 9. But it has a messianic intention or basis behind it as well, because I learned recently in one of the classes of Rabbi Reuven Wolf from Mayan Yisrael in Los Angeles. He teaches a lot of Hasidic and Kabbalistic Torah, and he mentioned recently in one of his classes, and I remember that he has mentioned it before, that in 1989 the Lubavitcher Rebbe of blessed memory said explicitly that in one of his sichas that in order to bring Mashiach, it is important, it is critical to learn information about Mashiach. And just by learning that information, you're bringing Mashiach closer. And he always implied that, but he didn't say that direct in those words so critically and explicitly until the year 1989. So, and I had no idea that the Lubavitcher Rebbe said that in the year 1989. I was just 11 years old at the time, 10 years old, 10 or 11. But it was around that time that I met the Lubavitcher Rebbe, actually, when I was very young, maybe a year before that, might have been like 9 years old. The Lubavitcher Rebbe used to give out dollars on Sundays, and I remember going there, and I remember seeing his. We looked at each other for a moment, and I can see it right now. It's just a very interesting experience. But what's interesting in Gematria, this is a Gematriatic calendar, which means when you look at the boxes and you see the numbers, what you're seeing is the Gematriatic construction of time. Time is a story that's being told, and all the numbers are just different words in the story. So with that, let's move on to the day. Today is the 11th day of July, which on this calendar, in this particular dispensation, what I call a dispensation is the amount of years in which it was in a certain format. Without going into all the rules of astrology and that, just suffice it to say for now that this bottom portion represents the month of Tammuz or July, both, because it's a lunisolar calendar. So every date, whether it's in July or Tammuz, are both represented on this calendar. And July 11th, the 11th day of July, on this calendar, finds itself on box number 3. And you might be asking, what is connected about 3 to today? Well, one of the rules of this calendar, as explained in previous videos, is that when you look at a box, the method of analysis is to look at the box both on either side of it, and then, like in the program Excel, this in fact was made with Excel, but just like in Excel, you can take a cell and you can merge the cell, and you can make it one cell. That idea applies to when you see like the word PL. It stands for purple and lavender, and those are the colors that you're seeing here. It's purple and lavender, or at least it's called that. I don't know if it's exactly lavender, but it's definitely more lavender than this. So PL, but PL has many other meanings too. I'll keep it there for now. But today is box 3. Now you can look at either one of the cells or above it or below it. So you have a choice of all of these cells. Now, as it happens to be, I mentioned that since it's a lunar solar calendar, each box can have a multiple meaning that would apply to either the Hebrew month or the Gregorian month. So, as I mentioned, today is the yard site of the Or HaChaim, the holy Or HaChaim HaKadosh. You can see I have a candle lit for him, and in memory of his soul. And I visited his kever, which I'm going to speak about soon. But his kever, not today. I wanted to, but I realized there wouldn't be enough time with all that's happening now. But the connection is that this year, in this dispensation, called Dispensation 2, the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, the July 11th is the, but look exactly what is above 3, 15. Today is the 15th of Tammuz. How is it that the box that is in July 11th, directly above it is 15th of Tammuz? I don't know how that could be. I mean, a naysayer would say, or someone who is skeptical would say, you're dealing with numbers of a limited amount of numbers, 1 to 10, 1 to 4, it's 1 to 40, but still, you're bound to have some things that match up. Right, I can hear someone asking that. Yeah, if you just do something every day, you're bound to find, there's a saying, you throw enough stuff on the wall, the more will stick. The more you throw on the wall, the more will stick. There's a crass expression of that, but I think you get the idea. The more stuff you throw on the wall, so the more you throw out there, and the more you use the same numbers, you're bound to find correlations. And I can see that as a skepticism to this calendar, but I'm noticing these things every single day, and they're not just like stretches of the imagination. It's not a stretch to say that a box that is directly above this box in this year would make the Hebrew date match the Gregorian date by just going one over. The chances of that happening randomly are very, very small. I don't know the odds, but they're very small. And so that's one of them. 15 is directly above 3. 3 is the box for July 11th, and the 15th of Tammuz is July 11th. That's a connection there. Another connection came up. So they named someone Yanni, one of the Pharisees in the show, The Chosen. It was named Yanni, but Yanni is like it could have been a Pharisaic name. Like in the Gemara, you have the name Rabbi Yanai or Yanai, and it's a very well chosen name. But the ordinal gematria value of Yanai in Hebrew is 35. And if you look at that video played today, so he said Yanai, but then the name of today, which means it goes through 72 names, is name number 66. But in Kedushin Tractate 66, it talks all about Yana. That's really amazing. I mean, that's really big. That something on a secular, secular, it's supposed to be a religious TV show, but still, it's something not connected with it. I guarantee you they didn't know the Talmud, they didn't know that I would be making a calendar about 72 names, and they didn't know that Yanai would equal an ordinal Hebrew gematria 35, and that 35 would be the cuboid of today. See, 3 is next to 35, you can see very carefully. And it's the ordinal Hebrew gematria of Yanai. The regular is 71. The ordinal, ordinal means you count Aleph as 1, Vez as 2, but You don't go by tens, you just go straight, like 1 through Tuf, Aleph, 1 through 22. It's really incredible that they reference that show on a day that it matched up the 66th name of the 72 names of God, the 72 holy names, and each name is a day. It's also based on this calendar. If you look at the 72 letter names brought down in the Zohar and the Kabbalah, you'll see that it looks exactly like this. It's 8 times 9, which is 72. Yet another reaon why this is called the PL-89. 89 is like 72 names. But the 66th name came today, and Yanai, I said it, I'm repeating myself, okay, but you get the idea, okay? Yanai is 35. 35 is next to 3, which is today. And tomorrow is 12, and this is box 12. 12 is one of those boxes that, just like 30, that the day of the month is going to match the box. They don't always match because it goes 8 plus 9 plus 8 plus 9. So it's like 35, 3, 12, 20, 29, 37. It's going, but there are some boxes, and should be a study in its own right, when they match up, when they don't match up. Okay? So that's just for the 11th of July. So we have the 15th of Tammuz, which is right above it. And then we have the 35, which is totally out there. It's taken from a TV show where they reference Yanai as one of the Pharisees. And then this is the day of the 66th name. And on the 66th page of Tractate Kedushin, side A, Kedushin, Samach Vav and Aleph, it talks all about Yanai. Abaye says that Yanai was a king from the Hasmonean dynasty, etc. And someone was a troublemaker and said that they didn't want to honor him. There's a whole story there. But then not only that, on side B, it says it's something totally different, but it says Rebbe Yanai. Rebbe Yanai was not Yanai the king. But still, like, what are the chances that this would happen, that you have Rebbe Yanai and then Yanai the king, and it's all happening on the day that this chosen TV show said Yanni was one of the Pharisees, and it's on this calendar is the same gematria, ordinally, which is this day. Like, I don't think a naysayer would be able to really dispute the accuracy of that. And I think I would have lost most people by now. But anyway, so that's just the Gregorian date. Now the Hebrew date here is 37. Now this is a quantum thought calendar. If you know a little bit, if you have some familiarity with quantum mechanics, quantum physics, some of the basic ideas is that it applies. One of the qualities of quantum reality is that one thing applies to on many different dimensions and many different levels. So, like in quantum computing, a problem can be solved in many different ways at once, as opposed to classical computing, where it's just in one context and can just work at that level. That's one quality of the quantum. And this calendar is very quantum. It's a quantum calendar, and so it takes into consideration all data. So the name Greg came up recently, and if the name Greg is sort of floating out in the ether, there's a reason for it, and this would try to measure that, just develop some kind of metric. Now, this also measures the Daf Yomi, because the Daf Yomi, now Greg came up today, and Greg equals 37, and according to the Hebrew calendar, 15 is in 37, okay? But now, you can say 15, you can say, like, when I say, like, back in 15, like, when someone says, like, 2015, it's like 15, like, you know, like, summer of 69, or back in 88, or you can just call it 15. So today is the 15th of Tammuz. But in 2015, I stayed at a place here in Jerusalem that is very, very close to here. That the address was 37 Yafo Street, and the apartment number was 29. And today, this is where the quantum comes in. Today, the Daf Yomi number is meaning not the page number, but the amount of pages that we've done since the very first day of Daf Yomi is 2015 pages. Exactly 2015 pages today. So think about that. This is where the quantum comes in. Today is page, which is Avodah Zarah 23A. Or 23, it's both sides, yeah. So Avodah Zarah 23 is the 2015 page of Talmud. Okay, but that's 2015. As I was talking, we just passed 15 minutes right now. That's the quantum. It's like very recursive. All the things are lining up. And so 2015, the year, I stayed, and today is the 15th day of Tammuz, yeah? It's like 15, like right back in 15. So then, look at this. The 15th of Tammuz is 37. What's it next to? 29. I stayed in apartment number 29 and 37 Yafo in 2015. Today is the 2015th page of Talmud. How did that happen? I didn't make that happen. Did you make that happen? I don't know. I don't think we both either made that happen. Anyway, so that's that. I mean, there's more things, but I think we'll leave it there for now.